Hello guys, welcome to the Python series. So in this video we are going to make a small creative program in order to start with you the tic-tac-toe game. So first we'll start it step by step so that you can clearly understand how to create a tic-tac-toe game in an easier way. So yeah, let's start with it. So first step, we have to write a function that can print out a board like with all the like 1 2 3 4 until the number 9. So like a number pad, we have to create a board which where we can input our x and o in that board, like a 3 by 3 matrix representation. So let's start with. So first let's start with Russell with image board plus 7, and we're going to add a dash. So we'll just copy this line. So we're just going to copy only this line, and let's just print it out 3 times, and we'll just change it this to 4 and this 5, this is 6, and let this be 1, 2, and 3. So in between these, we're gonna print, let's say, the dashes. So print the dashes. So it's only required between these four, and the last line we just do not have it. So let's just and now we're gonna create a list which contains all the elements of a board. So respectively, like for the ash, it's in the ash format, and we have the X and O's. Yeah, we're done with the board. Now what you have to do is we're gonna display the board, and let's just type in display board, and it will show you all the elements of the board. So here you can see that this is element. So let's just delete these. So these are not required in case. They're not required. So, yeah. So let's run this, and let's run this, and let's run it again, and let's reduce these also. Reduce it by 2. That's fine, I guess. And let's run it again. Okay, let's remove one more so that, yeah, let's remove one more. And let's check it again. Yeah, it looks fine now. So the next step is we have to write a function which can take the player input. Like in the sense, when a person is choosing, there should be a marker which chooses whether you want to represent X or you want to represent O. So we have to make a function which will be assigned with the marker which will be assigned to the particular X, respective X or respective O. So let's just define a function known as player input, and so marker can either choose X or can either choose Y. Inputting a function, let's say, so we are going to give the user to input whichever he wants, whether he wants to choose X or O, and let's just give him the option, and let's take in upper. So this dot upper is used whether by mistake if the user enters a small letter X or small letter O, so that would be a mistake. So here we are using upper, so automatically it validates into uppercase letters, so it would be easier. And now we're going to use an if statement. So if the marker by chance chooses X, so we're going to return sorry yeah. So we're going to return saying that we're going to print X comma O, and if else it will return the other way, which is O X. So this would be the so now we're gonna just say player input and run this, and now the user can enter whichever, if he wants to choose X, he will be free to choose X, or if he wants to choose O, he's also free to choose O. So yeah, in case you enter a small letter, it will automatically be taken as O, because we are used the upper method over here. So now we'll write a function that takes in the board list. So and object and mark takes a marker X and O. So it can take from the desired positions which are indexed from 1 to 9 according to the number pad. So according to that, we are going to place the marker in such a position. So let's define a function for place marker. So let's run this, and we'll just place the marker to be board, comma, and we're going to take it as O, the marker to be O, and the position to be 3. So when we display the board, so here it will show that here you can see that position 3 it has changed to O. So here it was X, so here you can see that it's changed to O. That's what we do with this thing. And now we are going to write a function that takes in a board and check if that marker has 1 or not. So if it's aligned, so x are aligned in the first row, so x wins. So we are taking a marker to check whether the marker has 1 or not, respective marker, whether x or o. So let's define a function to check whether he has 1 or not. So let's take it as win check, and we check the board and marker. So if the board uh, 7 equal to marker, or and board 8 equal to marker, and board 9 equal to marker, or so we're gonna print this. So yeah, now let's just check, and now we're gonna return to. So we're gonna return if the particular marker has 1, or else we are gonna return false. So we're gonna run this and let's check. So let's check whether board O has 1 or not. So false. So here it's showing that board O hasn't 1. So these are all the combination by through which you can win, like across row 1, across row 2, across row 3, diagonally in this position, diagonally in that position. So these are the respective combination by which a marker X or O can win. So now we have to write a function which gives a random this thing random model, like 0 to 1, like random integer from 0 to 1, and it will decide the player based on that number, like flipping a coin. When you get heads or tails, you if you win the toss, if you get heads, you choose whatever you can. But here, yeah, in a similar way, we're gonna uh, give the user a chance, whether by giving a random integer between 0 and 1. If it gets 0 or 1, if he gets 0, he gets player 1, or if he gets 1, he gets player 2, something like that. So let's just import, and let's define a function. Let's choose first. Then, so if the flip turns out to be equal to 0, so yeah, so if the flip, yeah, so if the flip turns out to be 0, so then we're going to return saying that he's player 1, else he's player 2. We'll return saying that he's player 2. So yeah, and now we'll check the function choose first. Yeah. So we didn't actually define what was going to flip was going to be. So we are taking flip to be a random integer from 0 to 1. Yeah. So now let's try it out. So here you can see it randomly chooses it got 0, and here you get the output to be player 1. You have got player 1. So next we have to write a function, so returns a boolean value saying true or false based on, and to check whether there is space available in that position. So let's write it out. So before that, let's modify our board in such a way that there is a space available. So let's make it X. So then we'll make it X again. Yeah, here we are going to give a space, and we'll make it X again, and so we are providing the space. So next, what we are going to do is we are defining a function space check. We're defining function space check, and based on board and the position, we're going to check whether there's space available in that particular position, and we are going to return the board with the position, which is, yeah. So next we are going to run space check, the function space check. As you can see, it's indexed at position 8. Here it's indexed at position 8, so we're going to check with 8, and here you can see that it returned true. So when we check with some other position, it's going to return false, so we'll keep it as 8. So now we write a function to check whether the board is full or not, and if it is full, we are going to return the boolean value true or else false. So first let's start with the defining a function. So we're gonna check the board, so let's name it as full check board, and then so is full, so is full, it's gonna be true. So for I in board, if I is equal to so is, so if there's a space available, so is full will be false, and we're gonna return, oh sorry, yes full. Yep. So now we'll check board, and board, yeah. Here it's showing false, so now we are gonna set in the range for that, for the full board check, and so it is in the range from 1 to 9, so index 1 to 9. So for that we are going to specify the range from 1 to 9, so which is 1 to 10 in the sense this is n minus 1, so it is starting to n minus 1 in this case. So next we are gonna check whether there is space in the board, then we're gonna return false, or we're gonna return true. So now we're gonna go check board, and we will check the board. So yeah, so next we are going to write a function to ask the user which position is going to choose next after this particular step, and also check whether there's spaces in this thing present in that particular position. So let's start with writing the function. So we're going to write the function like define next player's choice, and board. So the next we're going to initialize the position starting to be 0, and then we're going to iterate it through a while loop. So while not position in the index, which is 1 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7, right? So this is going to be the index, and or not space check in the board position. So we are going to allow the user to enter his input. So we're going to say user and ask his input. So enter your next position. So next we're going to return the position. Then we're going to print next player's choice, and we're going to print saying board. Yeah. So the user will ask you to enter your next position. Suppose I enter 100. I can enter one more, so I'll enter 10. So I can enter one more, I'll enter 6. So I can enter 5, then 4, 3, 8. So it takes in a number and it checks whether this space check is there, and it will give me the next position, which is number 8. So next we are going to define a function with replay, so that whether the user wants to play the game again or not, and asking the user whether he wants to play it again or not. Then we're going to return input, saying that do you want to play again? We're going to ask the user whether he wants to play it again, and the answer will be the yes or no. Then we're gonna use the dot lower method, so that if he mentions a lowercase letter also, no issues with that. So starts with, and we're going to mention y. Yeah. So if yes, so we're gonna use the replay option. So I'll just type in yes. Okay. Sorry. Okay, there's an error here. It's dot lower. So the now when I try, yeah, now it's showing true. So the user can play the game again. So this is just the algorithm or the basic things you need to know in order to create the game. In the next video, I'll be explaining in detail how to create the game step by step. So I hope you guys understood all these methods in order to create the game. These are the essential methods in order you need to know in order to create the final game.